This year's edition is based on children, and of course, our attention will be focusing on children. But before we do anything at all, we'll be inviting Reverend Sister Augustina Ofo to lead us in opening prayer for us to proceed into the activity proper. Reverend Sister Ofo, are you there? Hello, sister, are you there? Reverend Sister Ofo. Hello, sister, are you there? Okay, if sister isn't there, I would humbly call on our dear director, Reverend Father Jerome Ajakai, to give us opening prayer so that we can commence this webinar. Thank you very much, Father.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses,
As we forgive
who
those who
trespass
trespass against us,
and lead us not into
us
temptation,
temptation,
or deliver us
us.
from evil. Amen. Lord, we ask you to take charge of our discussions this afternoon. Enlighten us with the power of the Holy Spirit. And may our discussion bear fruits in the lives of the people who need them. And may we also be energized through our discussion to be more involved in saving lives of the trapped, those in need through Christ our Lord. Amen.
A very big thank you to you, Reverend Father Jerome Majakai. We so much appreciate that prayer session. Without any waste of time, it is said that the fight against human trafficking begins with awareness and it is fueled by collective action. And that is the reason why that we have distinguished personalities in our midst who have in different capacity contributed their quota into the fight against human trafficking. And shortly, I'll be introducing every personalities we have in our midst this afternoon so that we can all meet them before we go into the event proper. First off, we'll be introducing our dear father who has just led us in opening prayer, Reverend Father Jiro Majakai. Reverend Father, you're welcome once again, Father.
Thank you.
Yeah, Reverend Father Ajakai is the Director of Justice Development and Peace Commission, Ibadan. And also, we have the pleasure of the Honorable Commissioner of the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Inclusion in our midst, in person of Mrs. Toyin Balogun. You are welcome, Madam Commissioner. Good afternoon, Madam. Good afternoon, Madam Commissioner. Also, we have in our midst Reverend Sister Augustina Ofo. Reverend Sister Ofo is the head of Caritas Program, Justice Development and Peace Commission. Reverend Sister, you're welcome. Are you there, Sister? Reverend Sister Ofo, are you there? Okay, Reverend Sister, like I said, is the head of Caritas Program, and Caritas means love. And of course, that department in our organization has done so well in giving love to the people of the society. Also, we also have the honor of having Barrister Eileen Awoshemusi in our midst. Barrister Eileen Awoshemusi is the Director, Mediation Center, and former Secretary of the Oyo State Task Force on Trafficking in Persons, the Ministry of Justice. Madam, you are welcome to the webinar. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon, sirs. Good afternoon, man.
Good afternoon. We are glad to have you
It's
in our
nice to be
midst.
here.
Also, we have the honor of having Mrs. Rosemary Odigbo. Rosemary Odigbo, you're welcome to the webinar, madam. Good afternoon, Madam Rosemary. Yeah, Mrs. Odigbo is the coordinator, Child Protection Network, or your state chapter. We also have in our midst Mr. Ayes Alabi. He's the representative of the Nigeria Immigration Service in our midst. Mr. Alabi, good afternoon. Mr. Alabi, are you there? Very well. Mr. Alabi is the Chief Superintendent of Immigration Oyo State Command. Also, we have in our midst Mr. Afeoluwarotimi, who is the representative of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Commission, NSCDC. Mr. Afe, you are welcome to the webinar. Good afternoon, Mr. Afe. Yeah, Mr. Afe is the 2IC and focal person for the Anti-Human Trafficking and Child Protection Unit of NSCDC, Oyo State Command. And of course, I am glad to tell you that we have a very special individual in our midst today, whom I will be introducing subsequently. She is a survivor of human trafficking, and when the time is right, I will be calling her to share with us her experience about human trafficking, what she has seen, and how she was able to escape the web of human traffickers. Without any ado, I would like us to go straight into the webinar, trusting that we have Reverend Sister Ofor with us. The first question I'll be asking will be going straight to Reverend Sister Augustina Ofor. Reverend Sister, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, we are glad to have you in our midst. Earlier, I introduced you, and I'm glad you're here. So, Reverend Sister, I am aware that Justice Development and Peace Commission has done a lot of engagement when it comes to the issues of human trafficking, trafficking in persons, child trafficking, and what have you. They give it different name, different identity, and at that, I understand that you have done a lot around that sector. Therefore, I would like you to briefly say in the next 5 to 10 minutes, give us the situation analysis of trafficking in persons in Oyo State. And at that, I want you to tell us the signs that indicate a victim or potential victim of human trafficking.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jide. Could you please allow me to share?
All right, Reverend Sister.
And while we're doing that, I welcome you all again once more to this platform. Thank you for being here. This is the cause that we must all fight together. Human trafficking, as we know, it's not a story, it's not a storytelling. It's happening in our midst, happening big time. And what we're having this conversation is for us to know what we can do individually and collectively to fight this evil. Have you enabled me, Jide?
Yes, sister, go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just
Yeah, we can see it.
Human trafficking, it's 150 billion global industry, $150 billion industry. The smuggling route alone from East, North, and West Africa yields profits of $150 million annually and $35 billion globally. This is a research, it's not just story. It's there on record. Across Africa, the Sahara Desert and the Mediterranean Sea bear the mark of victims who traverse through them, with many lives lost along the way and the sea respectively, before the vast majority of the victims even reach their destinations. Human trafficking is indeed evil. In all ramifications, the traffickers work 24/7, and so should we. We must brace up and fight this evil squarely. I'll just have to go through, we know the story of human trafficking. I suppose most of us on this platform knows what human trafficking is, so I'll save us the time of explaining it. I'll just go through the data that are there on record globally, in Africa, and in Nigeria and in Oyo State. On the global scene, you have a report from Global Slave Index has it that 40.3 million people are enslaved in different parts of the world. That's this report is as far back as 2020, not too far. Nigeria has been described as origin, transit, and destination country for victims of human trafficking. I mean, it's happened within and outside, from state to state. In Ibadan here alone, a lot of this is going on across nations. So it's happening internally and external, trafficking in person, including border, interstate, interlocal governments, states, stares us in the face. I mean, we have it with us here daily. The 2019 Human Rights Report reveals 80% increase in the number of women who are trafficked from Nigeria to Europe and other countries of the world. You have the figures there, from 1,454 in 2014 to 11,009 in 2016. And among these victims, the report has it too, the majority of them are women and children who are left in the hands of these traffickers to suffer certain cruelties meted out to humans that we can't really capture, those of us who have not experienced it. And majority of these victims are children. And that's a big concern for us. In 2018, you have the National Agency fact-finding mission to Mali for provision, NAPTIP in Nigeria, provision of trafficking in person, revealed that 20,000 young Nigerian girls, again our girls, trafficked to Mali where they are subjected to prostitution in the bush camps around Mali minefields. We just keep following the track. You see that the majority of them are the girls, our children, women. And that does not say that the men, men are among those trafficked too, but the majority are the women. They are more vulnerable than the others. Same with the report of NAPTIP, you see it there. 44% of them women, 6% men, and 75% of them children. We must fight this evil. Same, even recently, some of the reports you have recently in July alone, same year, 2022, you have rescue of 200 kids from one orphanage in Plateau, 175 in Libya. As you see them there, the agencies have those reports there. In Oyo State here, it's happening big time, and it's more in certain areas. It's happening, human trafficking happens everywhere. Wherever there are human beings, you have exploiters, these traffickers who are out there to deceive people, to get them. And this, as we all know, the sole purpose of human trafficking is economic exploitation. They don't care what happens to these individuals. All they just want to make is just to make money out of them. And so in this area, in this part of the world, you have it more in Ibadan and the open areas. And it goes on and on. We have another active report, 2020. The numbers, 1,052 victims who are indigenous of Oyo State. You have between 2027 and 2020, same numbers. 716 of them from Oyo State. In 2020, 120 victims that were returned from Lebanon, from Oyo State too. So it's actually increasing here in this part of the world. We have our agencies here who handle these individuals one-on-one. Thank God they're all here with us, and we will also be hearing from them. So it is real. It's with us. It's happening around us, and we must all do what we need to do to save our people. And so the evil of human trafficking is there right under our nose. Human beings, especially women and children, are used for all forms of human trafficking. The most common one there, you have the domestic servitude, you have forced labor, sexual exploitation, death bondage, baby factory. Most of us have heard that, how people are harbored in different places, pregnant mothers, Either they get them pregnant, they take them to certain places, make them have babies, and then they sell up those babies. So you have them street begging. That's also very common here in Ibadan. And it's not just in Ibadan, it's across. With the hunger in the land, it's even getting worse. Because these people are, they're prey. Because of their situation, they can easily be deceived. And interestingly, it's not just the poor. Sometimes they say, you find mostly here. Now, what are the signs to watch out for? One is a victim of human trafficking if sold in exchange for money. Once someone is working, another person is collecting money, just check that very well. What is happening there could be human trafficking. It is good to investigate. One is giving out in exchange of debt owed. The person traveling documents assist. Most times when this will get to the destination, everything about them, your passports, all of that is seized. And that free movement is not there again. Salary not paid directly or through another person, I mentioned that already. Freedom is restricted. Subjected to suffering, violence, and torture, threats to life. And then the other signs you watch out to is most times these traffickers, when they get their victims, they script for them what to say. And so you find someone, you're talking to the person is looking up to another person to get the answers to the question you're asking. It means the person is done with whatever was scripted for him or her, and so has run out of what to say. Watch out for that. That could be a sign that something bad is happening here. Someone is fearful on certain of destination. Someone is traveling, especially when they carry these girls in group. They're not sure where they're going. You ask them, where are you going? They don't know. That's a sign to watch out for. Sometimes when you have bruises, physical bruises, when you see, especially these are for the teachers or those who work in institutions, schools, churches, you see a child with some bruises on the body, try and get someone else around, check what's happening. That could just be a sign of what more that is in the person. So this and many more, these are just a few of them that you find out there that are the signs. These are the things you watch out for. And as we'll continue, I think that's just in summary. And like we've said from the beginning, all of us need to get on board to save our people. So I would like to stop here. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Reverend Sister. That was a very insightful session, and we appreciate the information you've shared with us. While Reverend Sister presented, I noticed a very massive increase in the number of participants, and I want to take that time to appreciate everyone that has taken time to join this webinar. And I want to urge all of us to go to the comment section, the chat session, to go and comment your name and your location. And if time permits us to proceed, I'm going to be reading out your name and recognize your presence. But that I also want to confirm if we already have the representative of the commissioner or self in our midst already, so that I can duly recognize her. Honorable Commissioner, are you there, ma? Hello, Honorable Commissioner, are you there? Or representative from the Honorable Commissioner? All right. In the absence of the Honorable Commissioner, I want us to proceed without wasting time. I noticed when Reverend Sister was presenting, and it struck my attention that we have a progressive increase in the number of human trafficking globally. It is not declining at any point. It keeps increasing. And another thing that really got me bothered is the fact that it is the women and the children that are most vulnerable to these incidents. Therefore, I want to ask my next question, and the next question will still be to Reverend Sister. But before I ask Reverend Sister, I will be directing the next question to Mrs. Rosemary Odigo, because I'm aware she does a whole lot around the children, and this thing affects the children. And also considering this year's theme, it is all about the children. So I want to ask Mrs. Rosemary Odigo, what are the effects of human trafficking on victim, their family, and the society at large, from your experience, madam? Mrs. Odigo, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, ma.
Yes, sir.
Did you get my question, ma?
Please, can I have the question again, sir?
All right, ma. I'm aware that you run a home where you accommodate different people, victims of trafficking and all, and that informs that you have a depth of knowledge when we address the issue of human trafficking. So I want to know, ma, what are the effects of human trafficking on the victims and their family and even the society at large?
Thank you so much for the question, sir.
You're welcome.
I'm going to talk of the effects of human trafficking on the victim themselves, the families, the society. It's a devastating issue because it crumbles. For example, on the victim, the physical and emotional abuse that they pass through is unimaginable. And some of these emotional issues follow them for life. Some of them find it so hard to blend with any other thing in life because they've been so much traumatized. Even their health is affected. I have a survivor. We are still trying to work on her. She's so aggressive. You want to say anything, she feels maybe you want to fight her, you want to abuse her. Even when speaking with her, you could see a kind of fear. And this went as far as showing what she experienced. This particular minor was trafficked to Libya under the pretense of getting her a job. You can imagine the kind of job you are going to get for a 14-year-old. And the mom sheepishly agreed to that. Thank God for IOM. She was repatriated, and we are really working seriously to get her rehabilitated. Then some of them are sexually exploited. They are used for all kind of, just imagine, pornography, trading. I have one like that said she was locked in a room. And then there are this vice and agent, now agent of darkness. He's the one in charge. So as the man comes, he opens the door, they go in at a particular time. Oh, she said they stuff cotton wool, thick cotton wool inside her. So at a particular time, she'll be brought out. This man at the door, they have a way of removing the cotton wool and then stuff another one, put inside her again, and then take her back to the room. And then the business goes on. And she said she's to do this for a number of, I think, 2 years before she will regain her freedom. And under these 2 years, she's not allowed to make a call. She's not allowed to go out. She's not even, she has no freedom for herself. So that is how far some of these children are tortured. Then some are forced into labor exploitations. The kind of work that a minor cannot do. There's a particular one, she said she became so overwhelmed. She said she sleeps only 2 hours in the night. By 3, she's still awake. At a particular point, she got fed up. And then she drank, she said, jig. Here in Nigeria, we have jig. Something similar to jig there. So she drank it. And then by the time she started reacting, she has to confess and tell them what they did. After thorough beating, she was thrown out. That was how she was able to find herself through help. And she got to IOM. It was a Child Protection Network for your state. We collaborate with IOM to do home tracing, repatriation, and some other things for especially minors that are repatriated. Then we know that a child that have gone through this has nothing again remaining. She have lost her identity in life. She have lost who she is in life. It takes God around her to come back to a normal life. And then some of them are made to take substances to strengthen them. So do I say make them bold? No, I don't know. They are forced into using all sorts in order for them to be useful for the exploiters. And then stigmatization. When some of them finally find their way out, people around them, people are there, you are Shewo, Libya, you this, you that. Some face stigmatizations. Now, concerning the family, in most cases, out of 100%, I can say about 40 through my interactions, the parents are aware of that their child wants to be taken outside. I did one home tracing. Later, I traced my way and got to the house. The woman told her, "Are you so and so?" She said, "Yes." "Do you know so name?" Oh, she was so happy. I said, "Why are you rejoicing?" He said, she sent you to us. I said, "Yes, she sent me to you." "Where is she?" She said, "The minor, 15 years old minor, is in US." I told her, "Sorry, she's not in US. And then I'm not sure you are expecting me to give you anything from her. I only came to tell you that your child is suffering. And the person who took her have subjected her to all forms of humiliation." And then I started explaining to her. And she burst out. She was traumatized. She cried until I had to give her my shoulder. I had to comfort her. And then she told me that she didn't even know the woman. She just met the woman through a friend. And the woman said, "I can help you. If you have a child, you can bring the child, especially if it's a girl. Their job in US." And that was how she felt. She fell into such a trap. And then she released her daughter to the woman. And according to her, after that day, she never set her eyes on the woman again. The contact the woman gave her was never reachable. That was actually where she became fearful. And then the child never called her. So emotionally, they are distressed. The members of the family are traumatized. And then we know actually some people who engage in this, especially when some families have to sell their property in order to meet up for their child to be taken away from them without knowing what that child is going to pass through. Economically, it will affect them. Maybe they sold their house. This house sold, they may never be able to recover from it because they did it with the intention of, oh, when he or she gets there, money will begin to come in. So begin to send things to them and the rest. So financially, economically, it affects the families. And then stigmatization. By the time what this child or this person went outside to go and do is made open to the community, it becomes a shame. Like this particular woman I made mention of, when the daughter was brought back, she couldn't stay in that environment because of stigmatization. People laughed and mocked her, mocked the mother. The father is late, mocked the members of the family. And then finally, we just have to remove her from that environment. So at times they face stigmatization.
All right. A lot of points you have made, madam, and that is highly laudable. I quite appreciate. From what you have said, it is evident that a lot of crisis lies with people who have been in, I mean, who are victims of human trafficking. You've talked about them having trust issues. You've talked about them having loss of identity, stigmatization, trauma, and all sorts. And this keeps it keeps bringing series of questions from our hearts that I want to ask you. But before I do that, I would like you to permit me to recognize one or two personalities who have joined us and have also written their name in the chat box. First off, I want to recognize Anthony Olagoke Anthony from St. Anthony Parish, Igbora. You're welcome to Mist. Also, we have uh, Reverend Sister Agatha Morris, RSC from Port Harcourt. Thank you very much for joining us. We also have Antonia Father from Center for Sustainable Rural Development, Ibadan. Thank you very much for joining us. We also have Mrs. Dukbe Awoshi Musi from the Ministry of Justice. You are highly recognized. Thank you very much. As we progress, I'm going to be recognizing more persons that we have in our midst. Again, back to Mrs. Odibo, it is highly insightful and it got me emotional. A lot of things you've said about victims of human trafficking. So I want to know, madam, what are the psychological care that are made available to the victims or survivors of human trafficking, and how can this be improved? Because of course, I know you must have been doing a whole lot of things, and believe me, a lot can still be done. So what are those things that can be done to improve it? And finally, I want to also ask, apart from your home, is there any provision from government that provide any kind of home for people who have once been a victim of human trafficking?
And a meeting here, don't
Well, I would not really answer for government because I'm not a government person. But I know that NAPTI is doing a lot. They are also government. They are doing a lot, and I think they have shelters where they keep such victims for rehabilitation, integration with their families. I know they have even support. There's all sorts of different kind of support system for them. But for such victims, they really need to be made to undergo trauma-informed care, because they need to be understood, know the kind of experience they had. In this process, we must not be judgmental. We must not be ready to say, why did you do this? Why did you agree to do it? Why did you just finish it? We are there as a sweetener because they are already traumatized. So we have to counsel them, make them to go through therapy. And then if we need, like I said earlier, to remove them from their primary environment. That means maybe with relation, with parents. In the process of couldn't reach a reliable parent or a relation, you can remove them and get them to shelter facilities where they will receive comfort, because they need to be brought to a safe environment where they will feel loved, where they will feel wanted and identified with. And then in this process, we must be confidential enough for them to be able to build trust, because already trust has failed them from where they are coming from. So we need
Trust
them
has
to
failed them from where they are coming from. That is loaded, and I must sincerely appreciate you for all the insightful informations you've been sharing so far. While you make your presentation, I was wondering if we even have people that apprehend these perpetrators in our society, and that is leading me to want to ask the security agents we have in our midst who have also been working on the activities of traffickers in our society. Earlier, I introduced the presence of Mr. Alabi from NIS and Mr. Feluwarotimi from NSCDC. So my next question will be going to the two of them. But first off, I would like for Mr. Afe to respond to my question. Then subsequently, Mr. Alabi too will respond. I want to know, for the law enforcement agents in our midst at the moment, I want to know, how do law enforcement agencies support child victims of trafficking, that is during, after, and when they have been rescued? I want to know what the law enforcement agency do to support them. Are you there, Mr. Afe? Are you there, Mr. Alabi? Mr. Alabi, are you there, Mr. Afe?
Tell Afet to unmute. Tell him to unmute himself.
Yeah.
Mr. Afe,
Afe,
kindly
unmute
unmute
Hello?
yourself. Mr. Alabi, the question is for the two of you. I want to know,
Bra-
did you get my question?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
All right, please go ahead and respond, sir.
Yeah, my name is Afe Olurotimi. I am the 2IC for Human Trafficking and Child Protection Unit for NSCDC World Day Command. I'm also the focal person.
Welcome,
Let
sir.
me first of all appreciate all participants with this webinar. I'm happy to be here this afternoon.
You're welcome, sir.
Well, to answer that question in a very straight answer, like you said that what are the support that will give to the victims of trafficking? Am I correct? Hello?
Very correct, sir.
Yeah. You see, providing support is not within the purview of the law enforcement agent. Ours is to go after the perpetrators or the offenders. But if you are working with children, it's part of your oversight responsibility or functions to be able to know what are the next steps in protecting this child that has been trafficked. Of course, yes, we make a referral. The law enforcement agent does not have a shelter to place such victim. The psychosocial support you want to provide for the child is a personal thing for any law enforcer or law enforcement agent that wants to provide. So when traffic victims are being investigated, the perpetrators are being arrested, what we do is that we make a referral. Because the key thing for any victim when rescued is to provide a shelter, which is under the purview of Ministry of Women Affairs, who provide shelter for them. Hello?
All right, Mr. Afe, thank you very much. You made a very salient point there, which is quite understandable. And of course, I so wish we had the presence of the Honorable Commissioner in our midst. Of course, a lot of questions I've been waiting for her to answer. But however, I want to believe that Mr. Alabi will also have something to say to that question before I proceed. Mr. Alabi, are you there? Hello, Mr. Alabi, are you there?
Hello,
Yeah, please let us have you, sir.
are you hearing me?
We can hear you
Good
clearly.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, good afternoon.
Yes,
Good
sir.
everybody. I really appreciate my being inviting me to this program, and I greet everybody that are hearing me now. The question that you posed to me: how do law enforcement agencies support the victims of human trafficking? The support we give to the victim of human trafficking is to rescue them first. When you rescue victim of human trafficking, that is the first support we give to them. Hello? Hello?
Please go ahead, sir. We can hear you clearly.
Yeah. So rescue of a victim is the first support given to the victim. The victim, we really appreciate any law enforcement agency that have rescued he or she. And also, there is limit to what we can do after rescuing victims. First of all, we let the victim be at home. Let the victim be at home. We let the fear be out of that victim. And we have to get vital information from the victim on what next to do. That's it. Then, if in the case of referral, we refer to Ministry of Women's Affairs. We make use of their facilities, the FAR home, where the child will be taken to. And during this course, there is some information that has to be gotten from the victim. While we do the profiling, we get how the victim is being trafficked, who are those involved, and how many are they? Do we still have others that still at large that we are not able to be rescued? And what are the things that the victim have gone through? So all these things will be part of the package to the agency that we refer to, because we are the first contact and we have to package the file that will be referred to the agents that will receive the victim for further investigation of the case. So, and also if the case is for us to repatriate the victim, we do that. So depending on how the case comes, that's how we treat the case. But there's a good relationship with us, with other security agents and non-governmental organizations that are fighting this cause. And also we have good relationship with Ministry of Women's Affairs, NAPTIP, JDPC, and others. Hello?
We are with you, Mr. Alabi. We are with you. And I trust you are rounding off already.
So, okay.
Yes, sir.
I think I'm done.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Labi. You've made a lot of points, but of course, I picked the one where you said that the first help that you give to victim is to rescue them, and now coining that vis-a-vis what Mr. Afe said earlier, he talked about home where rescue victim can be accommodated. Well, gracefully, we have in our midst Barrister Eileen Awoshimusi, who doubles here as a barrister and also a representative of the Ministry of Justice. I'm aware she has something to do with Ministry of Women Affairs as well. So I want to ask you, madam, I want to believe you are there, Mrs. Awoshimusi. Are you there, ma?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, ma. I want to ask this question. Is there any provision for shelter in this state for rescue victims to be accommodated?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon once again, everyone. Sincerely speaking, the issue of human trafficking, either prevention, protection, prosecution, is a matter of partnership. So when we talk about providing shelter, it is a rescue issue, is a collaborative effort. When you rescue, the state as an institution may not have a particular or a specific space as referred to as shelter for victims or survivors of human trafficking. But I'm sure that the state government collaborates with other stakeholders who run homes, like just like Mrs. Odigbo. I'm sure the survivors that are in her care.
Hello, go on, ma. Hello.
Must have gone there. Interference there. Hello, can you hear me? Oh,
Yes, we can. Continue,
hello.
please. Continue, please. We can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. So there might not be a specific space, but it's a collaborative effort, which I know very well that anytime we have survivors rescued, the Ministry of Women Affairs collaborates with other stakeholders to ensure that they have shelter for them.
Right.
Thank you.
Very well, very well. Before I let you take your breath, ma, I want to ask you this. I want to go the way of the law this time around. I want you to tell us an overview, like provide an overview of the current policies and laws that are in place to combat human trafficking in our country, particularly in Oyo State.
All right, thank you very much. As we all know that human trafficking is very cancerous, and it actually operates the way cancer itself operates. It does not present itself until it has gotten to a very delicate stage, and it is an offense that is mostly committed in secrecy. I've seen a question on the platform from one of the participants, asking for what you can do when a parent says that her child is doing well. Meanwhile, the child had been trafficked. So that is to tell you the level of secrecy involved in human trafficking. However, globally, particularly in Nigeria, we have various laws. In Nigeria, we have the NAPTIP law itself, which was which is the umbrella body of what we are talking about. So we have trafficking in persons prohibition, enforcement, and administration law, acts in Nigeria, which was promulgated in 2015. And within that law made several provisions with respect to prevention, protection, prosecution, and enforcement and partnership. But let me come down to Oyo State, since we are discussing Oyo State. Fundamentally, we have child rights law because we are talking about the theme for this year, which is leaving no child behind. So I'm going to focus mainly on the legal instruments available as regards human trafficking as it relates to children, even though most of these laws are also related to adults. The Child Rights Law of Oyo State was promulgated in 2006 after which is the domestication of the Child Rights Act. Child Rights Law, you see some sections of the law, like Section 16 of the Child Rights Law. It talks about the right to parental care, protection, and maintenance. So in this particular provision, it provides that the parents of the child must take care and protect and maintain the child. And out of this maintenance and taking care of the child, the issue of not letting the child out of your purview is part of it. So if you look at that, you discover that this is technically prohibiting trafficking in persons. I go to Section 29, which prohibits usage of children in criminal activities. If you look at the causes, the reasons for trafficking, especially for children, they use them in other criminal activities like smuggling, like drug trafficking, and prostitution. So this Section 29 of the Child Rights Law of Oyo State prohibits this act. So it's prohibiting technically trafficking in persons. Then Section 30 prohibits abduction, removal, and transfer from lawful custody. You see, if you look at this is an express provision on trafficking. You cannot abduct or you cannot remove or transfer a child either from his parents or from any lawful custody, maybe from his or her guardian. So if you look at Section 31, it prohibits exploitative labor. If you look at one of the reasons for trafficking is their children are trafficked for exploitative labor, for forced labor. So Section 31 prohibits this. That's Section 31 of Child Rights Law. Section 32 is also applicable to expressly provides that, if you want to use a child, if you want a child to be involved in labor, you must comply with the Labor Act. That's the extra provision of Section 32. So there are certain criteria, there are certain things, certain conditions that you must meet before a child can be involved in labor. That labor must not be injurious to his or her health. It must not be inimical to his or her well-being, and some other conditions like that. Then if you look at Section 33, we are still talking of child rights law. It prohibits buying, selling, hiring, or otherwise dealing in children for the purpose of hawking or begging for alms or prostitution. So you look at the benefits of trafficking is for one of the benefits is prostitution or sexual exploitation. So Section 33 expressly prohibits that. Section 34 has to do with unlawful sexual intercourse with a child. Mrs. Odigbo related a pathetic story of a girl that some things had to be inserted, a cotton wool had to be inserted into her private parts, and so as to fulfill all those conditions of sexual whatever. So unlawful sexual intercourse with a child is prohibited by Section 34. If you look at Section 35, it talks about other forms of sexual abuse like harassment, like exploitation, and other forms of sexual abuse. That is about child rights law. Now let us come to the criminal code. The criminal code also makes provisions against kidnapping, abduction, and forced labor. That's the criminal code that has been in existence since before I was even born. So you can imagine these laws are in place, not to talk of the NAPTIP law itself. We also have Oyo State Anti-Kidnapping Law, which was passed in 2016, I think, which also prohibits taking a child or taking a person from a particular place to another without the consent of that person. We also have our VAP law, which was passed recently in 2020, which prohibits any form of sexual exploitation or harassment or any form of abuse. So these laws are in place. There are some other policies in place in Oyo State that prohibits human trafficking or child labor. The challenge we have is the issue of, the culture of silence and the culture of being accomplice, especially by parents. A lot of parents have their children trafficked out there. Some inadvertently had their children trafficked. Some willingly trafficked their children, all in the name of, they have to go and bring something home. Some ignorantly. And when you ask them, they deny. I can cite so many instances. When I was the secretary of NAPTIP task force in Oyo State, so many instances. We have gone with Mr. Affair, we have gone to rescue some people around 9 p.m. inside one bush. And before you know it, we couldn't get the thing sorted out. After rescuing them, they went back and they were like, oh, we want to go back to our country. So you discover that your hands are tied even when you want to rescue them or protect them or prevent the thing. The people involved are so connected to the survivors and also connected to the perpetrators.
Interesting.
So you discover that you are not able to do much in terms of rescue.
Yeah, very well, Madam Awoshemusi. You've accentuated so distinctly the series of laws that we have in place that can at least curb the activities of human trafficking in our society. And that gets us so excited. But the more excited we get, the more curious personally I get to want to ask you more questions. However, I'm going to be leaving you a little bit to ask the security agents in our midst more questions before I come back to you. Now, this question will be going to Mr. Fair and Mr. Alabi. The other time when you were making your submission, I got so curious about the level of need that you might have as agencies. So I want to know what kind of training and resources are being provided to you to handle child trafficking and cases that are sensitive to human trafficking, and how effective have this been? Mr. Fair, Mr. Alabi, any of you? Mr. Fair, are you there? Hello, Mr. Fair, Mr. Alabi. Please, Mr. Alabi, go ahead. I can see you.
Mr. Alabi,
yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
So, thank you once again. Regards to the question you asked about the training and the resources that were given to us in handling these cases. The officers are employed to this unit.
Yeah,
Hello?
please write on. We can hear you now. Please write on.
The officers and men that are in this unit are well trained and they know what to do as teams. If we want to rescue a female victim, we make sure that it is female officer that handle that victim. And it is male victims, we ensure that it is a male officer or men that we handle that victim. That's one.
Excellent.
Then two,
Excellent.
we ensure that we let them. Hello.
Hear you, right,
Hello.
sir? We can hear you. Please go on.
So
Please go on.
if they are rescued, we make sure that they are well profiled. They are well profiled, vital information that will lead us to arresting or apprehending the end user, which is the person using the victim, and the trafficker. So all our aim is to apprehend the end user and also the trafficker, because the trafficker is the person that brought the victim, while the end user is the person making use of that victim. Two of them have to be apprehended and prosecuted. And also the resources we have, resources cannot be enough, but the one we have, we are making best use of it. As regards to logistics, as regards to the offices, as regards to manpower, we make sure that the little resources we have, we make best use of it. And also, I want to come in with a new dimension that is being introduced to this human trafficking. This common saying of this jackpot syndrome that will bring us to the issue of smuggling of migrants. Instead of them trafficking them now, they encourage them to submit themselves, that they are the one that want to travel. So if there's more time to explain this, I will explain this. Thank you very much.
Mr.
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. Thank you very much. You've made a very valid point. And of course, you mentioned the issue of detection and prosecution the other time. So I want to know, what are the measures in place to ensure the effective detection and prosecution of human traffickers? That is one. I will be asking you the three questions in one. That's the first one. Second, do people really know where to report, and how effective is the reporting system?
Okay, thank you very much. The detection and prosecution. Detecting human trafficking victims, traffickers, and end users. One, we have to investigate. We need intelligent gathering and information gathering about where they are, their location, and what to do in apprehending them. And also, on our routine patrol of suspected locations, we detect victims of human trafficking, traffickers, and also their end user. We also get information from tip-off from our fellow Nigerians that on our patrol, they may just tell us this is where they are. That's where Nigeria are at. Also, from phone calls, they can, on our patrol, on where we are in office, we receive phone calls that something is happening somewhere, and we go there and we act to make sure that the victim is rescued. Then, at our border, at our airport, seaport, we do detect victims of human trafficking, like the one that happened on our border. These people, they will disguise as if they are traveling. So they wear the same attire. They will tell you they are going for burial. So by this, we do our thorough interrogation in the bus there. So from this, we can detect that how can you be taking a person we call himself a brother or sister to like 10 person, 6 person. So after interrogation, facial, we look at their face, if they are sign of resemblance, and also you discover that some will be Yoruba, some will be from Edo, some will be from Igbo. So you can't tell me that a Yoruba lady and an Edo lady and an Igbo lady is your sister. So we detect from that also. And also from process of acquiring our international passport. If somebody wants to traffic a victim, an underage, by coming to process our international passport, we can detect it, because there's some document information that we do ask before the person is captured. You cannot miss any of the two processes, any of the three processes, either capturing or when you want to collect your international passport. That we do apprehend some victims of human trafficking and also traffickers. And also, because of this background of Japa syndrome, they try to introduce this fake scholarship, fake sport organization, sport tournament in foreign country, fake job opportunity. And also by this, most of them, they go for international passport. I mean, age, someone that is even more than 18, 20 years, 25 years. By this, when we do our interrogation, we will see that these people, they are trying to traffic them or smuggle them out of the country. That's one. The prosecution question that you asked. We have good relationship with other security agents and other stakeholders that are fighting this trafficking person syndrome. We have NAPTIP, we have police. If there is the case that we can refer to police, we refer to police. And if it's a case that we can handle on our own, we do it. And mostly we do repatriate some victims or foreign traffickers. We repatriate them and hand them over to their security agents to prosecute them. So that's that. Then you asked, what was the third question, sir? Hello?
I asked, do people really know where to report and how effective is the reporting system?
Yeah. People do report cases. As I told you, we have tip-off, that is a form of report, and we have petition, that is a form of report. So we have done public enlightenment and sensitization in the media, in the marketplaces, in school, in motor park, and also in our command when people come to apply for international passport. We do sensitize them and we tell them the effect of trafficking person and also smuggling of migrants. So by this, I think we orientate them. We receive calls from well-meaning Nigerians. We receive petitions. There was a case of some landlord association that wrote us that they saw some illegal migrants, some migrants that are staying in one apartment, more than 50 of them. I think we work together with NAPTIP to go and handle that case at somewhere around this garage, challenge garage there. So we handle the case, and after doing the profiling, those ones that we can handle, we handle it, and the one that we can refer to NAPTIP, we handed over to NAPTIP. Also, we have, as I said, we have petition, we have tip-off, and also we have calling of our attention of our when we're on routine patrol. They do call our attention to some happenings that we always acted upon. So by this, I think we are trying our best possible to make sure that we relate with our people, because we cannot work alone. We have to relate with the stakeholders, relate with the people, those in the markets, those in our communities, the motor park, the drivers, because these drivers are the people that traffic them from Okegun down to Ibadan. We have to relate with them. Any sign of somebody coming with 2, 3, 4 victims, they should alert us. If they don't alert us, they should border patrol along the road. So all these things, we try to carry them along so that we can reduce the cost of this smuggling of migrants. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. You are obviously doing your best to expel the activities of human trafficking in our society. And I trust that by the time we keep giving it our relentless efforts, someday the activities of human traffickers will be expelled totally in our society. Quickly, I want to rush back to Barrister Awushemuse. She said a lot about the law, paying attention to child right law in Oyo State. Barrister, are you still there? Hello, Barrister Awushemuse. Hello. Okay, if she's not available at the moment, I want to quickly engage Mr. Fair. I want to confirm. Mr. Fair, are you there? Hello, Mr. Fair. Okay, maybe Mr. Alabi will still be our rescue at this point. You talked about a series of activities that you had in place earlier. I want to know, what are the main challenges you face in implementing anti-human trafficking laws and policies, particularly for children?
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
We have challenges. Let me first of all go to on the few challenges that we have. When we are on field, the challenges we face is the reaction from the end users, the people making use of them, these victims. You know, we have victims that are being taken from Benenua, Togolese, that are brought to Nigeria, and they are engaged in human trafficking, child labor. Also, we have our Nigerian children too that are being engaged in this child labor. But mostly at the market, when we go to the market to rescue victims, we see reactions from the public that why are we doing this? You know, they are not, some of them they know.
Hello, Mr. Alabi. I guess you're having network crisis over there. Mr. Alabi, are you there? Hello?
Incoming call from
Hello?
Office JDPC identified by Truecaller.
Yes.
Oh, okay, please.
I'm with you.
Right
Are
on,
you hearing
please.
me?
Yes, please go on.
And also the challenge we have, you know, as I've always said, I've said earlier that nothing is enough. All what you can do is you manage what you have. Because when you are given a responsibility, you must perform. If you are complaining means you cannot perform. So every little resources you have, you make sure that you perform. The challenges are there. We have mobility challenge. We have material challenge, short of manpower challenge, but we also make do with what we have. Sure, you understand. But the real challenge out there is the reaction from the society when we go for rescue mission, both in our border area, both on the road, in the market, in school, in the supermarket, because you see a woman that is employing 8 years old child and is having 10 years, 10, 5, 10, 6, 8-year-old children. If we want that 8 years old employed underage to take care of them. So when you get hold of them at the market, you see a lot of reaction. You see phone calls for some. You know, these are the challenges. I think there is high time we put more effort in this in our social media, in our media, television, radio. We do jingles, we do program to enlighten our people that what they are doing is wrong. Making use of underage as a house help is wrong. And also using them as shopkeeper in the market is wrong. We see them on our road, they use them as a beggar, they use them on the farm, they use them as mining, they use them to as a shop attendants. These are the things, and we are trying our best, and I believe other security agencies too, and NAPTIP, they are trying their best to make sure that we reduce this menace. But by the grace of God, I think with what we are doing now, I think we are going to step up again to make sure that this thing we still reduce it to BRS minimum. Thank you. Hello?
Very much.
Hello?
Thank you very much, Mr. Labi. A lot you have said, and we are highly encouraged, and we get more confidence that a lot of interventions in place are enough to tell us that our society is a safe place to be. Before we proceed, I want to quickly confirm if we already have the presence of the survivor in our midst, Mrs. Edith. Please, if you are there, kindly signify. Let's hear your voice, madam. Hello, Mrs. Edith, are you there?
Yes, please. Good afternoon.
So
I'm
glad you
here.
are here. Just hold a little bit while I recognize a number of persons, and thereafter you come up with your testimony, and we'll proceed from there. Permit me to quickly welcome Reverend Father Anoye from New York. Thank you very much, Father, for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you in our midst. Thank you very much. Also, we have Okafor David Ifeanyichukwu from Italy. Thank you very much, Mr. Ifeanyichukwu, for being a part of this webinar. Thank you very much. A lot of persons are asking questions, series of questions. And of course, if we are to evaluate all these questions, we obviously will not leave this place today. But before we go to all those questions, let us permit someone who has seen this in real time. Because as we are saying it, it's appearing like some are exaggerating. It's as if it's not even existing. So we have someone who has been in this situation at some point in time in our midst, and we want her to quickly share her testimony. Madam Edith, please, shortly, I would like you to introduce yourself appropriately, and as well tell us how it happened, how it started, when and where did it happen. You have the floor, madam.
Okay. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm Mrs. Edith Isidaome from Ibadan Diocese here. Actually, the journey started in the year 2004. I was in the university then. So, like I do tell people, and like I do tell few people that knows me, I never for once come across anything human trafficking. I've never heard of it. I don't even know if they are trafficking people. Actually, it all happened that I was dating this guy then, and then the elder sister, she's in Germany. So she told the guy that she needed two people to come over to work. So when the guy actually approached me, I said, okay, let me think about it. So the guy he kept pestering me that my elder sister wants you to come, that you have a good job over there. I was like, okay, no problem. I was in school then, but struggling in the school then. So I said, okay, let me give it a try. So immediately I agreed. I don't have a passport, international passport then. It was immediately I agreed. Just 2 days, they brought my passport. I was like,
Interesting.
I invited to Lagos. Myself and one of his cousins. So we're two girls, myself and one of his cousins. So I was much at peace that, okay, one of his cousins is actually going with me. So there's nothing that is happening. At least two of us will be fine. So we were invited at the embassy that we should come over to Lagos. So we got to Lagos. The time we asked to be at the embassy by 6 a.m. My brother, we got to the embassy 5 a.m. So when we got there, we were calling the man that we are at the embassy. He said, no, you people, I was expecting you people at 6 a.m. We said, well, yes, 5 a.m. We kept calling. He was not speaking for like 4 hours. So immediately he picked up. The time I was already gone. So he was like, I was waiting for you people for like 4 a.m. You people were there 5 a.m. You said we should be there 6, but we were there 5 a.m. He said, okay, I've taken a flight down to Sokoto. Just take my bus and meet me at Sokoto. We're like, Sokoto, I've never been in Sokoto. So how do we get there? I said, okay, the flight you have to use is in Sokoto. That means you have to take the night bus and join me in Sokoto. So we said, okay, fine. So we joined the night bus and we got to Sokoto. So on getting to Sokoto the following morning, we started calling his number again. The number was not going. So he asked us to come over down to Benin again. So we're just, we're so desperate that, okay, we are leaving the country then. So I said, okay, fine. So we'll move down. We have to join the another bus down to Benin. So we got to Benin. So the place we stayed at Benin, I've never met the man. I don't even know him in person. So we stayed with him for like 2 weeks with 50 other girls in Benin there. Where to see we're all in a single room, 50 girls in a single room. So when we got there, other girls were like, what is happening? What is happening here? They said, we are all going to Germany together, that we should relax. Fine. We've never heard of we never knew that we are still, they actually wanted to traffic us. So we stayed there for 2 weeks. So immediately, it was the last day for that 2 weeks. We asked that, okay, where our flight will be the following day, that we have to move down to Sokoto again. So they moved us. So on our way going, we got to the border, I think I can't really get the specific place. So we got to a place, we were caught by some policemen. So they asked us to step down. So the man went there, talked to them. I think he gave them some money and then they released us. They asked us to move ahead. So we went and then all we could know was that we find ourselves at Niger. And when we got to Niger, they collected all our passports. That our flight, they want to take it to the airport for us, the place we will get our flight. We said, fine, we're so happy. After 2 weeks, we're so happy. So we submitted our passports, not knowing that that's the end of it. So immediately we submitted our passports. We stayed at Niger for like a month. So the place we stayed, we met other girls there too. 50 of us, we met some girls too. And then we also met some guys. The guys were not as much as the ladies there. So when we saw the whole thing, we saw the whole scenario, we were like, wow, it does sex. So we got there and then we don't have our passports. You can't walk freely in that place. There's no way you can walk freely until you were given a passport or a pataka to move around. So we were like, we stayed there for like close to a month. So there was a time it was like, okay, I needed a secretary, someone that would be controlling people from Nigeria that they will be sending money to. So they did election in our midst there. We did election in our midst there. I was voted for as the secretary of that place. So my own, luckily for me, voting for me as a secretary, I have the opportunity to go out to buy things for the people that are there. So immediately I was going out, I started making calls to my products. This is where we are. I don't know where we are. And my people too, they don't even know about trafficking also. They were telling me that, okay, don't worry. Very soon you will get to Germany. So I was calling down my boyfriend so that this is where we are. The guy was still telling me to relax, that we would definitely get to his sister's place, that we should relax. The sister too will call. And she will assure me that don't worry, you will be fine. Immediately you call me, all the suffering is nothing. You will enjoy, you will have good work. And then I said, okay, no problem. So it was at a point getting to a month, and then when I was not disturbing the man that, when are we leaving this place? He said we should relax, that the flight, they changed the date, they changed that. It was just giving us a series of excuses. So at a point, he brought in some vehicles that, okay, it's now time for us to move down to the airport. So it was as early as 4 a.m. They brought this pickup. How do I describe the pickup? So and the pickup will take like 30 people. 30 people, you can imagine how they will put you 30 people in the back seat of a pickup. And then the instruction was that anyone that falls down, they are not going to wait and pick that person till we get to the airport. We're so happy now. We're jubilating that nobody will fall, no problem. So on our way going in, we just find ourselves in the desert. We find ourselves in the Sahara Desert. This one is not that they are telling me, it's what I've experienced, it's what I've seen. I've seen it face to face. We got to Sahara Desert, we were like, where is the airport? Have we not gotten to the airport? When are we getting to it? The man will just tell us to relax. The day one, it was at night. He said we have to relax and sleep. And then the driver of that vehicle, as long as you left Sokoto, any language they are speaking, you don't understand it. So the man that is actually taking us, he understands all their languages. So he was communicating with the driver. I think the driver told him that there's a place that we need us to sleep. So on getting to the rock, we saw I think we saw a rock like that. So not knowing that they have rebels there. There are rebels under that rock. So when we got to the rock, they asked us to calm down. So we stepped down one after the other. All the ladies were on queue and we stepped down. So I don't know, there's this thing that just told me that, Edith, you are in a danger. I have a finger rosary, I have a ankle rosary with me then. So a hand rosary rather. So I was just praying the rosary. What is happening? The thing just told me, Edith, pick up a cloth, squeeze it and put under your stomach as if you're pregnant. I was so reluctant. I don't even want to do it, but this voice kept coming that you have to do it now. You have to do it now. So immediately I folded the cloth and then put it under my stomach. So the rebels, they started beating. They were beating us. They were serious beating with koboko. They were seriously beating us. So immediately they got to the lady before me. One of the rebels take her and they raped her. So when the second one gets to me, he wanted to pick me too. He realized that I was pregnant. He just swiped me with koboko and said, "Stupid girl, so you were pregnant coming from Nigeria." He just moved me aside. And the girl after me was that my cousin, and they also raped her. And every other girl there, they raped them. And me, they started beating. You need to see the way they were beating me. They knew that they actually thought I was pregnant, so they started beating me and beating the old guys. At times, they would even ask the guys that were with us to even sleep with the girls. If they are tired, they will ask them to sleep with the girls. So we moved. So when we left that place, two of the ladies actually fell from the vehicle. The driver did not even wait to pick them up. That's the end for them. So we started moving, and then we got to Juruku. Same thing happened to us. They took us to another rebel, and same thing, beating upon beating, raping upon raping. And then eventually we spent like 3 weeks in the desert. 3 weeks in the desert. You eat raw food. The only food we have then is either we get a water and then Indomie. Raw Indomie. There is no fire to cook. You eat raw Indomie and then drink water. If you even get a water, you are very lucky. So those are the only thing we took before we got to Sabah. So when we got to Sabah, we were asked to stay there. So we were asked to stay there. And then when we got there, there's some people they call burger, which is Libya burgers. They will invite them that they brought in girls that they should come and pay. So I thought I was like, pay for what? The person that is bringing us have paid for everything. What are we paying for? They said, no, we have to pay, or else those people will come and pick us and take us to connections. The only thing is that I was quite educated before leaving Nigeria. Every other girl there, they were like finishing from secondary school. Some are in secondary school, some are in primary school. And the whole thing was like, me, I'm this kind of girl that will ask you questions. If you want to kill me, just kill me. I said, we paid now. What are we still paying for? They said, you that have sharp mouth is you are the number one person they will sell first. I was like, okay, oh, my sharp mouth, let me calm down, see where we are. So the first man that will come to me, I listened to, I don't know who was talking, I was driving then. The person said that they have to slot in a kotiwu. It's real. They will for the kotiwu. The first man that came to me was a Libya guy, he's a Nigeria guy. The man collected, I think, 10,000 dinars from the man that was bringing us. He collected 10,000 dinars from the guy and said, okay, this guy, I'm selling it to you. He has to go and work for that money and pay you back. So when the man took me, I was like, please, I don't know anything. I didn't even know where we are coming from. All I was told is that I'm going to meet my sister-in-law in Germany. And we find ourselves here. The guy said, that one not even consign me. Oh. You have to pay me my 10,000 dinars or else you will stay here forever. I was like, how do I pay this money? He said, okay, this is the kotiwu. He folded the kotiwu. He said, you have to disvirgin me. Though I was not a virgin then, but he said, for me to start the job, they have to, the connection man have to disvirgin you first before you have access to any man that will come into. I was like, wow. So immediately he took me to his house. He folded the kotiwu. I started crying and I started screaming. I said, please, I beg you. I will pay you your money, but please, I can't do this. I beg you in the name of God. I said, I was like, I don't even know. It was as bad as what I can't even explain. I'm just cutting everything short because I really passed through a lot in that journey.
Definitely, Madam Edith.
I passed through a lot in that journey, but I'm just trying to, because of our time.
Yes,
so the man I said, okay. The man I said, okay, what you would do, if you know you can't pay that money, but you have to be my wife. I said, your wife? No problem, I will be your wife. If it is that one, I will be your wife.
Oh.
So he now said, okay, you want to try me first, that I will try. I said, okay. He now folded the kotiwu because they can't just penetrate inside you just like that. They have to make sure that you are safe. It's just like protection for them. So when he gave me the kotiwu, he was trying to slot it into my V. He was trying to slot it in. The thing was not coming. It was not going inside because the kotiwu was just so big. It was too big for me. So the way.
Yeah, madam, thank
I was just screaming and screaming and screaming. He now asked me, "Are you a virgin?" Okay.
Yeah, Madam Edith, as you
okay.
As you make your presentation, you're getting me so emotional here.
Sorry.
I can tell you have gone through a lot. And of course, by now, I trust you are now a victor. But of course, if you would go through this whole thing that you've gone through, we will not leave this place in the next 2 weeks. Really, you have gone through a lot.
Sorry, I can't hear you, please. I guess the network. I can't hear you.
Yeah, you certainly have gone through a lot. That, of course, if we have the next 5 hours for you to present it, we will not leave this place. I just want us to cut it short by asking. By asking, are you there? Hello, Madam Edith. Are you there? Wow, the network is misbehaving there. Madam Edith, please, I want you to confirm if you are still there. While
I'm with you, please. I'm with you.
Okay, very well, very well. I'm glad you are there. I was saying then that you've seen a lot that I can confidently tell that you are a victor already. And we cannot really have that enough time to for you to really make all the presentations of what happened. But then I would like to know, how were you able to get out of this web, and what help did you find so helpful the most, that you cherish the most in the whole process? I want you to answer that in 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Actually, when all this was happening, I kept praying to my God that please, the only consolation I have then was my rosary. I was just praying my rosary. Please, I was telling my God, I don't know all about this. I want to get out of this place. Why the other lady was saying that, no, I'm not going back to that Nigeria. I want to forge ahead. I said, that's your choice. But my own choice is that I want to go back to Nigeria. So it was just happening and happening and happening to the extent I told this guy, I have to lie to this guy, the guy that picked me up, that I was pregnant. I have to lie to him that I was pregnant, that, okay, do you want me to give birth here? To go back to Nigeria, take the time for me to go back to Nigeria. He now said, okay, we have to be into an agreement that, okay, when you go back to Nigeria, you will bring girls for me. I said, that one is a small thing. Just allow me to go back to Nigeria. He said, okay, that he will look for money for me to go back. But I'm not going by flight again. I have to go through desert again because I was not having my passport. That guy, the burger, have already seized my passport. So I don't have access to it again. So I said, okay, no problem. If it is for me to go back through the desert, no problem, I have to do that. But eventually I stayed 8 months in Libya, 8 good months.
Wow.
That 8 months, it was hell, yeah. It was hell, but where I was downtown of Libya, and then I went to Tripoli. So from Tripoli, he asked me to go and meet one of his sister there. So when I got there, that one too was like, he was trying to sell me out to another person. Eventually, I managed to escape. By the time they broke down the connection house where she was staying, and the police arrested everybody. The police arrested everybody, and then one of the police officer actually saw me, because then I was kind of fair. I looked like one of them. So he now called me out that, what are you doing here? I said, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I want to go back to Nigeria. He said, okay, that I should take his number, that he's going to. The truth is, I'm not lying. The truth is, we're like 60 number that they arrested that day, but I was the only one he freed on that particular day. That if I know anyone, I should call them, but when I get to Nigeria, I should call him. I said, no problem, just do this for me, let me go. Oh, that was how I got to escape from that policeman. So eventually I find my way. I started contacting people, and they started sending me money down, that okay, I should use it to get there's a book you get as type passport. It's called Pataka. So it's that Pataka I used to get to downtown again. Then I get a vehicle that is going to Nigeria. I started all these desert vehicles, so I have to follow the journey accordingly. It was not a day journey though. So the guy kept calling me. I told him that I'm still pregnant. So I got to Nigeria. So he have to send me money. So, and before I left Nigeria, there was my husband that I got married to. We've been dating them, but I don't want to marry him as at then. You understand? I don't want to marry. He's just my friend as at then. So when I called him, I think I go back to Nigeria. So I have to call him that I'm in Nigeria, that this is what happened to me. He said, okay, I should come down to Nigeria, that everything will be fine. So immediately I got to Nigeria, it was his house I stayed in Ibadan. Yeah. So he was the one that actually housed me, do everything for me. And then my second home is church. The only place I could go to morning mass, go to evening mass, go to church activities. And then that is how I got to survive a bit. But my years in staying in Nigeria, if there's any knock on the door, it will be as if I want to faint. Like everything I'll just remember everything that is happening in Libya. Anyone that knocked at the door, as at that period, for good 4 years, I couldn't get over that trauma. Everything was just on me. So I think I would advise, what we need to do now is just to create more awareness on this. A lot of people don't see. I think I was 24 then. I was 24 if I'm not mistaken. A lot of people don't even know what this is. They don't know who to run to, because I came to Nigeria. I don't know there is a number that someone can call and report such case. The guy kept disturbing me that you have to bring girls for me. But I need something to survive. I will tell him, okay, send me money, I will bring you girls. So those are the things. And then, so I think we need to create more awareness so that people will know that, okay, this is real.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you so much.
We really need to create more awareness. And I do hope we will have access to really getting your message, your story packaged for people to be able to see across the world and see how much you've been able to survive after the whole incident. Thank you very much for taking time to share your story with us today. And I trust
Thank you, sir.
everybody on this webinar is grateful that you took the courage to come and communicate with us today. Thank you very much. Before we draw the curtain, I realize we have a number of questions on the comment section, and a lot of them have been answered anyway, but I've picked some. I would like to ask one or two of them that has been picked. This one goes to Mrs. Rosemary Odibo. Madam, are you still there?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, all right.
Okay.
Someone asked on the comment section, how do you help a guardian who refuses to speak? Who refuses to speak out, but rather claims the daughter is doing well? Did you get that question, madam?
No, the network is not encouraging. Please repeat the question again.
How do you help a guardian who refuses to speak out, but rather claims the daughter is doing well? I think a situation whereby the person looking after a child is trying to shield such a child from help, claiming that the child is doing well. How do you help such a situation?
Actually, for somebody to reason that way, the person must, in fact, the person must be, don't let me say insane, because this is like watching horror movie, hearing all this kind of story, and then you knew that this is what your child or your relation is passing through, and you felt, let that person remain. That person needs a lot of counseling herself, therapy herself, and then needs to be empowered. And then she would also need to be let know that there are centers. If you don't want to speak out just because of stigmatization and the rest, after getting clear picture that it's not speaking out of poverty, okay, maybe this child will finally be bringing us money. We have to let this person know that trust is highly needed in this collaboration. There are agencies she can open up to in order for help to come for that victim. But in such a case, we will not rush the person into it. We need to build a lot of trust, then remove fear, then offer support for such a person. Then use professional bodies who are highly trained in such situations to let this person speak out. But a lot of confidentiality and trust will be required. And when this person speaks out, then work will start on how to rescue this person or this victim in danger.
Yeah, you certainly have done justice to that. I want to believe the fellow that asked the question is satisfied with the response. In a jiffy, I want to let Reverend Sister
Mr. Moderator,
yes,
can I
Mr.
quickly add to what? Yes, can I quickly add to that?
In 1 minute, sir.
You see, yes, what Mrs. Odugwe said was very, very correct. But you need to understand there is a shift in trafficking issues. And what I mean by that is initially it was individual who actually wanted to be trafficked or who were deceptive to be trafficked. With that way you look at it. But these days, you begin to see where the family member is knowing to trafficking of a particular victim out, be expecting the proceed of it. At the point when they leave initially and the proceeds are coming and they inform the stakeholders or maybe the law enforcement agent about a particular case and they don't want to speak up or speak out, you find out that they remain silent. But like what Mr. Odigwe said, you need trust and a very good relationship with them and giving them confidence that don't worry. If you have a problem, we are not saying that your child cannot travel abroad and take care of you because of you lack one or two things. But over time, if you think that child or that victim has issue, just make sure that you speak to us. You will find out that it's a matter of time. In no time, you will be called upon to, they will report the issue to you, because I've also experienced such issue of about 9 months. Initially, when the matter was reported, she said the father and the mother said, no, that they are okay, that their child is doing fine, what have you. And it was before Ileya. Do you know this same victim had promised his parents that he's going to send money for Ileya to buy ram. But a month or 3 weeks before Ileya, something went wrong, and the victim was unable to send money, only for them to come to us after Ileya. I don't know, maybe you get
Absolutely,
what I'm saying.
absolutely, Mr. Afe. Absolutely. We must appreciate you for that insightful angle you looked at it. Thank you very much. Reverend Sister Ofo, I don't know if you are still there. Reverend Sister Ofo, there is this question for you that I need to ask before we draw the curtain.
All right, I'm here.
Yeah, sister, please, in 1 minute, can you please tell us how can you assist any victim we encounter? Like if we have an encounter with a victim, what's the first thing we do? How can we assist them? Please, let this be in 1 minute, please.
All right, as we've heard so far, you with all the stories we've been hearing, you know, anyone who is trafficked is actually deeply traumatized. So the best thing to do is applying the principles of trauma sensitivity. You listen to the person very patiently, without judging, without condemning, without probing. Hear the person out. There's a lot of from just being heard, telling your stories. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you, sister.
Okay.
Please write on.
But the line is not clear. It's not clear.
There, listening to everything you're saying without judging you. That's very important, and that's the first thing you do for the person. Let the person tell a story. If the person begins to cry, just be patient with that person. Allow the person cry. If the person does not feel like talking again, give the person time. And then the next thing you do for the person is to find out the situation. Most times, even when these people run away, there's this fear that these traffickers that are dangerous, that are so connected. They've said that one of the things that keeps human trafficking thriving is that they're so connected. You could run away from this end and you're running to the other end and there's somebody waiting to catch you there. So the next thing you do is to find out the safety. How safe is this person? And make sure that there's a shelter, a safe haven sort of for this victim. Another thing you do is to give the person all the information that the person needs, because the person has been through a lot, as we've been hearing since we started. Does that part of what they do to these victims too, apart from all the trauma, beatings and everything, abuse they get on the way, is that most time they take them to swear an oath before they even embark on the journey. And this is to instill fear in them, to let them know that even if you have the chance of running, you can't run. If you run, you die, or you run. Try to give them enough information to let them know that you're not going to die. There are agencies available, and we've heard about all the laws that are there, that you are going to be protected. Give them that assurance without promising what you can't do. Give them all the information and then link them with these agencies. Take them to this home where they will get all the support. Part of what we did when we did this human trafficking project too was to get the community to be the rural traditional leaders, the religious leaders, link them with these people, let them have that psychosocial support that will help them bounce back. And then in trying to help them, there's this misconception too that one has been rescued, you are trying to empower the person, so you tell the person what to do. Go and learn sewing, go and learn this kind of trade. It shouldn't be that way. And if you remember, following all the stories we've heard, all through their time of being in captivity, they have that situation of being told what to do. So they resist anything looks like any form of imposition. Plan with them, let them have a say, whatever plan, whatever kind of empowerment, help you want to give them. Ask them what would you like to do. By the way, some of them would like to go back to school. That's another misconception there too, that you just empower them. Empowerment for any of these victims could be, okay, I want to go back to school. Let it be, do it in collaboration with them. Don't just tell them what to do and then try and do follow-up. Even if you manage to link them with any home, any shelter, anywhere, agency, don't just say my work is done and then you leave them like that. Follow up. That also helps them to know that, okay, someone cares about me, someone is thinking about me. And one way or the other, it will help them to get back to life. And I just want to beg all of us, please do not judge these victims. Even if it is their greed, sometimes you blame them, it's their greedy, they're not thinking, how can somebody deceive you like this? Whatever they've been through is enough punishment, even if they were gullible and I don't know. We should sit from judging them. So I think if we all do this, so any victim we get, it will help them just being a victim to a survivor, like we have with here.
Awesome, sister. Awesome. Thank you very much for that insightful information you shared. Now, on a final note, I want to call on our Reverend Father, our leader at Justice, Development, and Peace Commission. Father, please, I would like you to give us your final directive. I mean, your take and message for everyone who has participated. Father, please, over to you. Father, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Good evening. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Father.
We can't overestimate the importance of this topic, this subject matter, and our presence here and our participation for the past 2 hours shows that we are all in this fight together, and it shows how concerned we are about the issue of human trafficking. A lot has been said, and like I will always say, meetings, discussions are supposed to be the fire that spurs us, ignites us to action. So let our webinar not just be for the purpose of it. Let our participation push us to go into the society and be agents of change. And the change starts with us in our environment, in our schools, in our working places. The setting observations, don't ignore the signs, the red flags. You see somebody in your neighbor's shop who is not the child of that person, a shop owner who has a 12-year-old or a 10 years old looking after the shop and looking after the babies. Let's pick up. Let the change start with us. I mean, our presence, our participation has shown the interest. And if more people like yourselves and ourselves take this to heart and show so much concern, the world will be a better place. So I really, really cannot thank you enough. I appreciate your presence, your time. 2 hours is a long time, but our patience is a testament to the change we want in this area of human trafficking. So I want to thank all the participants, all those who were present, sister, the